Our long national nightmare is over. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Lemon is back. He made the announcement yesterday on the X platform. I want to read his announcement because I was so excited when I saw this, and I know you will be too. I heard you, and today I'm back. Hold on. What do you mean I heard you? Who's been clamoring for Don Lemon to come back? I heard who? I heard you, Mom. I know you want me to move out of the basement and get a real job again. I heard you. The demand for Don Lemon has been enormous. I heard you, and today I'm back bigger, bolder, and freer. My new media company's first project is The Don Lemon Show. You got to love that, too. Don Lemon announcing that he started a new media company, and its first project will be all about me. It's The Don Lemon Show. It'll be available to everyone easily, whenever and wherever you want it, streaming on the platforms where the conversations are happening. And you'll find it first on X, the biggest space for free speech in the world. You know, I may be wrong, but I don't remember Don Lemon when he was at CNN being such a champion for free speech. In fact, I remember him wanting to silence any critic of his or his party or his political leanings. I know now more than ever that we need a place for honest debate and discussion without the hall monitors. This is just the beginning. So stay tuned. Wow. So basically what we're going to be getting here is Don Lemon unplugged, Don Lemon without a censor, Don Lemon without the hall monitors that kept him from being the real Don Lemon there on CNN. The mind boggles at what that's going to look like. But in this new media era that we're living in, with so many options for people to get news and information and commentary, alliances are formed that might actually raise your eyebrows. In fact, one of the most high-profile media figures to congratulate Don Lemon yesterday was none other than Tucker Carlson. Here he is, congratulating Don Lemon and welcoming him to the X platform. Congratulations. It's a new world. Welcome. What? Now, last time I checked from Tucker Carlson and his opinion of Don Lemon, well, he had things to say like this on the Full Send podcast.
Oh, well, Don Lemon, who's not a friend of mine, Don Lemon is an international man of mystery. Don Lemon is the stupidest person who's ever had a TV show, but he is, and that's saying a lot, but he's also simultaneously got massive flair. Like, I just can't not like Don Lemon. I can't help it. I just like him. I think he's hilarious.
Well, he is hilarious, but it's unintentional usually. But, listen, I guess this is Tucker Carlson being consistent. He did say that he liked him. He can't help liking him. And yet he's also the stupid man ever to have the television show. So I guess the congratulations there are just on a personal level. I'm happy for you. I've always liked you, even though I think you're the stupidest man on the planet. In fact, we remember at least one of the many segments Tucker Carlson did on his old show, Fox News Channel, about the aforementioned Don. Is it Lemon? Is that how we pronounce it? Yeah, Don Lemon.
We will concede we have spent many happy years making fun of Mr. Don Lemon of CNN, and at times we'll concede we've been a little cruel. But even as we have mocked him, and there has been honestly an undercurrent of real affection. We kind of admire Don Lemon. How can a man so obviously limited have such boundless self-esteem? Doesn't he know he's an idiot? No, he has no idea. This is the guy who once suggested that a commercial airliner had been eaten by a black hole. And when people laughed at him, he seemed completely unbothered by their laughter. In a world of intellectual pretense, Don Lemon is not ashamed of being dumb, or for that matter, ashamed of anything else. When he got fired last year from his primetime gig for low ratings and reassigned to mornings, he told viewers it was a promotion, and he seemed to mean it. So whatever else you say about Mr. Don Lemon, he is unflappable, or so we assumed. It turns out there is, in fact, one thing that bothers Don Lemon, and that's not being the prettiest person on the set. That drives him insane. So possibly as a kind of torture, a kind of punishment, CNN's new president, Chris Licht, paired Don Lemon with two much younger, much more attractive co-hosts, Caitlin Collins and Poppy Harlow. And the normally steely Don Lemon began to melt down before our very eyes. The other day, for example, after Caitlin Collins interviewed a Republican member of Congress, Don Lemon launched into an attack on Republicans that wasn't actually an attack on Republicans, but a not-so-veiled attack on his co-host, Caitlin Collins. Can't do that. Producers in the control room turned up the music to get him to be quiet. We're going to commercial now. But he shushed them to keep attacking her. Watch this.
Thank you for taking time to join us.
Thank you for having me. All right. Thank you. That's going to be it. That's the time that we're in, where facts are sort of flexible. And
That's why we got Caitlin Collins on the Hill,
things out there,
fact-checking in real time. It was a great interview.
Citing uncredible sources, like citing the New York Post as a credible source and saying that facts are, it's just, I can't believe that we're here.
Caitlin, that was a great interview. Moving on.
Anyway, well, not moving on, because listen, that's a big issue when it comes to the American, hold on please with the music. That's a big issue when it comes to the American people. The American people are going to have to suffer through all of this stuff, from election deniers to people who don't believe in facts. We don't have a shared reality. And now it's taken center stage to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
This is Thanksgiving at the alcoholic passive-aggressive family's house. The American people, shrieks Don Lemon. The American people. Of course, it's not about the American people. It's definitely not about, quote, facts. Facts. No. It's about how Don Lemon feels about himself.
All right. Now it's all starting to make sense. Now I can understand why Tucker Carlson sent this congratulations message to Don Lemon when Don Lemon announced he was going to be launching a brand new show on the X platform. Tucker's excited because he's going to get golden moments like that. And we're excited too. I mean, say what you will about Don Lemon, but since he's been fired from that morning show on CNN, which was about a year ago, I think. I wonder if it was contractual that he couldn't do anything for a year. That would make sense, actually. Since he's been fired from the CNN morning show, when was the last time you actually heard anything about the CNN morning show, right? I mean, no one was watching when Don Lemon was on, but something like that would happen, and then suddenly you would see it on Fox News, or you'd hear about it on conservative talk radio, and people would be saying, oh my God, can you believe what Don Lemon said on his morning show? Since then, no one cares. I mean, literally, no one cares about what happens on CNN's morning show. So, I mean, there is some value in that, right? For us over here at Town Hall Media, and certainly here on the Larry Show, we're going to hold our breath and wait and see on this new venture from Don Lemon and the Don Lemon Show on X, because listen, we might get that guy that you just saw, the insufferable prig who's all about himself and shaming people who disagree with him and calling them liar, and saying the New York Post isn't a credible source, when last I checked, the New York Post is the only publication that actually got it right on the Hunter Biden laptop story, while CNN silenced it, censored it, and kept it from their viewers. I mean, it's really something for CNN and Don Lemon to be saying the New York Post is incredible. We might get that guy, but we're hoping we actually end up getting this guy, the same Don Lemon, just a few years before what you just saw. A Don Lemon before Donald Trump was president, a Don Lemon who actually kind of made sense.
Because Black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're not doing this, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking about you. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male-on-male prison sex. The one with the really low pants is a submissive one. You get my point? Number 4 now is the N-word. By promoting the use of that word when it's not germane to the conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the masser intended, acting like? Now, number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically Black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids are acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. A high school dropout makes on average $19,000 a year. A high school graduate makes $28,000 a year. A college graduate makes $51,000 a year. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number one, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues.
Yeah, that's I like that, Don Lemon. Don't you like that, Don Lemon? That Don Lemon makes some sense. That Don Lemon actually said some pretty important and vital things that you could argue that in this day and age in the media, only Don Lemon or someone like Don Lemon can say. Because here's the thing. The other Don Lemon, who sadly we saw quite a bit of over the last 5 or 6 years, if that Don Lemon had a guest come on his program and say exactly the same thing that the other Don Lemon said, well, the new Don Lemon would have called him a racist and kicked him off the show. So, which Don Lemon will show up on the X platform? We'll see. But I know which one I'm hoping for.